You know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
Come on, then. I'll bite your legs off!
I can take it.
Great power comes great responsibility. We have a fault. Get to the chopper! Handy! Just a flesh wound. I am the father.
And welcome back to the 30th episode of SludgeCast. Of course, we got Sludge here, and finally returning, it feels like forever, my co-host, Micah.
How's it going?
So, dude, it's been forever since it feels like you've been over here.
It has been.
Because this stupid COVID junk. Because the last episode, weren't able to get you over here, and so Sarah stepped up, and I think she's actually going to come back for the next one when we do the Mortal Kombat episode.
Sweet.
So, or not Mortal Kombat, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, okay.
Because she grew up watching that one. And I know Austin's coming for that one. So she was like, I want to do another one. And she loved the Power Rangers as a kid. So I was like, perfect. But tonight it's just the normal crew. It is me and Micah ready to rock this one off. So we've got a lot of news stuff for you. Tonight we're going to go bring up a news segment that we're going to start. It was Micah's idea. I think it's super great. We're going to talk about that after the news. And then we're going to give you a sweet song that I'm really stoked about. Actually, I don't even want to do the show right now. I just want to just listen to this song because this record is insane. And then, of course, the second topic tonight is going to be Roger Corman, which is going to be great. So we're going to kind of dig into the history of one of I think, the greatest creators in the movie industry. Paved the way for a lot that most people probably don't even realize.
High praise right there coming from you.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big Corman fan, so pretty stoked about it, and hope you guys will enjoy it. First, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the news because some big things were happening. Even though we've all been kind of stuck at home, which it's time to get out. Y'all need to get out before we all go crazy. Some major things have happened. Things are finally starting to move. I saw today, actually, and this isn't one of the articles I picked up, but a couple productions have been greenlit to pick up and start going again. Lord of the Rings, and for not movies, for those who don't know, Amazon's doing a series, Lord of the Rings. They've been okayed in New Zealand to start picking back up production on it, and a couple other ones. So it's awesome to see things are starting to go back to normal. But some things are not. So that's the first news article is very interesting. It broke just a couple days ago that AMC announced that they will be banning all Universal Studio movies from screening in their theaters. That's huge.
Are they trying to lose money?
I don't know. I mean, AMC is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, chain of movie theaters. I mean, they got over 1,000 theaters in the country. And the issue that they had was, and they're saying it's with a contract issue, is that Universal announced that NBC Universal will be doing away with the 90-day grace period after seeing a huge return on the new Trolls movie, Trolls World Tour.
Right.
Okay. For those who don't know what the 90-day grace period is when because now we got live, streaming, and it's always been there, but before streaming, it was just, VHS DVD rental, at the video store. But there was always contracts between studios and the theaters that they had a 90-day grace period where the studios would not release the movies to a home video or another format other than the theaters for 90 days so that the theaters could make their money off of it too. Yeah. Okay. Since everything that's happened with the COVID virus, Universal decided to release Trolls World Tour straight to streaming and renting it, much like what ended up happening with Invisible Man and Bloodshot and a few other, not just Universal, just every studio's doing it. But Trolls World Tour ended up bringing in more than the first one did. It broke $100 million in 3 weeks.
Wow.
The first Trolls movie did $77 million in that time. It made $157 million in 5 months. So in 3 weeks, Trolls did almost what the first one did in a theatrical run.
Right.
So because of that, how successful it was doing just the streaming thing, Universal's decided that they're going to start releasing films simultaneously streaming and in theaters.
Right.
This really ticked off AMC.
Oh, yeah.
AMC, and I've got the actual quote here from their their chairman here, this is what they say here. This radical change, because what Universal's doing, this is AMC, change by Universal to the business model that currently exists between our two companies represents nothing but downside for us and is categorically unacceptable to AMC Entertainment, the world's largest collection of movie theaters. Going forward, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'm just going to read this last little bit. AMC will not license any Universal movies in our 1,000 theaters globally on these terms. They're calling it a contract break,
Right.
because of what Universal's doing, releasing these simultaneously on streaming, and it is going to cost AMC money. They're going to lose money, and I can see that and understand that.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is the best move. But this is something that's really important, and I think we need to look at, because we are seeing the movie industry change right before our eyes. Okay. I mean, we see here in our area, they just announced today one of the theaters in our area is closing down permanently.
Yeah.
One thing I do think is pretty cool this time, though, is you're seeing the return of the drive-in,
Right. Yeah.
which is awesome. And why it's not all over the news, I have no idea. Right now, I mean, because that is so cool.
Yeah.
And I think that would be great. Hopefully, the drive-in comes back in full force. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But this is huge. So if AMC cancels with Universal, what's the next step? Because I think hopefully they can resolve this issue, but that's huge, because then Universal's going to go, well, Trolls made almost the entire Trolls World Tour made almost the entire amount that the first one did in far less than half the time, in less than a month versus 5 months. Streaming works as home entertainment.
Yeah.
What's that going to do? Is it going to raise box office prices? Is it going to lower box office prices? Are more companies going to go just straight streaming? Or are they going to stick with AMC and Cinemark and stuff? That's huge.
Absolutely.
For a theater to say, we're done. We're not going to release any more of your films.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not like, it's not like it's like Lionsgate.
Right.
This is Universal.
Yeah.
One of the big dogs. And that's a lot of movies to say we're not bringing in. I think it was bold.
Oh, absolutely.
On their part.
Yeah.
I mean, they would never dare say that to Disney.
No.
That just would be the dumbest move ever. Universal's number 3. I mean, you got Disney, you got Warner Brothers, and you got Universal.
Yeah.
So that's huge. We're going to see what happens with this, because it's very interesting, because just, listen to me here. This could be a very huge tipping point to how we experience movies from now on.
Absolutely.
There could be something that comes up to where they're going to start splitting the films. I mean, you may have a selection. This is something I see coming, or think would come, is those movies where the studios are spending 6 figures, 6 figures, not 600,000, like 100,000. We're talking like 100 million. Sorry, 9 figures. So like $100 million budgets and above, I could see always going to theaters.
Right.
But then those lower budget films, 80 million, 60 million, 20 million, streaming services.
Right.
So you can see a real tide shift here with what's happening. This is going to be interesting. Just be paying attention.
Yeah.
But I thought that was very important to say, is that AMC has completely, if you've not heard, banned all Universal movies from theaters. So that's massive. Like, not cool at all. But there's other theaters that'll put them in there. But AMC, that's the big dogs.
Yeah.
So that was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Next bit of news is, of course, we all love Star Wars and we all love The Mandalorian. Mandalorian, of course, is underway, season 2, and I saw it in the news the other day and that was super awesome, because Jon Favreau's still the showrunner on this one, which is going to be great. A lot of big stuff happening.
Yes.
Season 1 was absolutely unbelievable. Best Star Wars thing there is, period, aside from Empires. It is.
I'm gonna have to.
If you say one of the new trilogy is
no,
okay.
Oh Lord, no. You haven't watched the new Clone Wars season, have you?
Not all of it, but it is amazing so far, and I've heard it's absolutely unbelievable. So
to me, it topped
ending,
Mandalorian for me.
Really?
Yes.
I heard the ending was like, I'm trying to stay away from it, and not I don't want to ruin it for myself.
Yeah.
But I heard it's just freaking mind blowing.
The final 4 episodes are like.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So, but a lot of good stuff is coming on with The Mandalorian. Super stoked for it. But they just announced that they've got 2 new directors coming in to direct some episodes. That is Robert Rodriguez, who is one of my favorite directors. He's absolutely awesome. He did From Dusk Till Dawn. He did the Predators, the 3rd Predator film, which I thought was pretty decent. But he did the Desperado movies. Great director. He did those kids movies that did really well. I don't like them, but the kids love them. Like Shark Boy and Lava Girl or whatever, He did the Spy Kids.
Yeah.
That's what it was, Spy Kids. And then Peyton Reed, Ant-Man. Peyton Reed, they're coming in to direct some episodes for Mandalorian season 2, which I think is super, super awesome. I really can't wait to see Robert Rodriguez because the potential of adding that, his action flicks are phenomenal. Like the Desperado with Antonio Banderas was one of the best like action films I've ever seen. It's so, so good. And I absolutely loved From Dusk Till Dawn. That was such good, one of the best vampire movies ever. And he did a phenomenal job with that. So I can't wait to see him bring his spin, especially in the Mandalorian, the bounty hunter aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, like a Western-esque type episode is going to be boss.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that. You actually have a piece of news for Mandalorian too, don't you?
Yeah. The original, well, I don't say the original, but the guy who played Jango Fett in Attack of the Clones, help me pronounce the name so I don't mess it up.
Dude, I can't even remember. We were trying to figure
Tamura, I think.
Tamura, yeah.
Tamura Morrison.
Yeah, that sounds
He's
right.
coming back to play Boba Fett. Has
Which
been
is
officially
awesome.
announced.
So bringing Boba Fett and having Jango play, the guy played Jango, that's awesome.
I don't like it.
You don't like
He
it?
died. Just leave him dead.
But there might be something to it. I mean, just think how awesome it would be. Like, he digs himself, shoots himself out of that sandworm, and it's like, Luke, and I don't know. It would be cool. Like, I'm excited. It's Boba. Like,
It's
I like
Boba.
Boba.
Yeah.
I do think it's cool they're having him play Boba Fett.
Oh,
though.
absolutely.
Like
yeah.
that. I don't think they could have picked anybody better. Obviously, because you can't get the original guy.
Well, yeah.
But I think it's pretty sweet. So they're set up for a great season 2. I mean, and bringing Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka.
Ahsoka Tano. Yeah.
Dude, that's going to be phenomenal.
I'm excited about that.
I'm just waiting for Darth
Very
Maul to show
excited.
up.
Oh, yeah.
That would be awesome. So season 2 of Mandalorian is going to be really
Darth
cool.
Maul's already dead, but
They'll bring him back too. You can do it, man. So a lot of cool stuff. Another news article, Star Wars related, which I am super stoked about, is Taika Waititi is doing his own Star Wars film. It is announced that he's co-writing and directing an unpronounced Star Wars film for Disney. That's awesome.
Yes.
Like, the dude is a phenomenal movie director. I cannot wait to see what he does with Thor. For Love and Thunder. I mean, Ragnarok ruled.
Dude, yeah.
So, I mean, Taika, how you pronounce his name, dude's an amazing director. He's a great actor, too.
Yeah.
Like, he does great in the Thor films. Like, he's really good in those. I love the dude. So, I'm excited to see what he does Star Wars-wise.
Are we still thinking Old Republic type deal?
I don't know. See, I mean, there's so many different things going on with Star Wars right now. It's like, is it going to be a solo type movie story?
Right.
Not meaning Han Solo, but just like a solo film, or are they going to go with the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic and have him start it off? Because
I think that would be the way to go. Because I don't think he can. Solo movies are good.
I almost don't know if he would be the right pick for the Knights of the Old Republic, though, because he's got such a very. When you look at Thor Ragnarok, you look at what we expect and see coming from For Love and Thunder.
Right.
His style is very much that very flashy, very. He could probably do it, what I mean? Yeah. But I just don't see. Knights of the Republic seems more of a more darker, serious film, to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, seeing him do like I would absolutely love for him to do an Ewoks film, like bring Wicket back, like that would be awesome. You know what I mean? He could do so good with that. Yeah. Or at least just bring the Ewoks in his movie. I don't care if they're actually in an Ewok film. Just bring the Ewoks back. So I don't know about him doing the Knights of the Old Republic. I mean, he could probably do it. He's such a good director.
Yeah.
But I mean, just with his style, I see him doing a solo story, which would be really, really, really cool. An early story of like Chewie would be great.
Yeah.
Which I guess we kind of got with
Solo, but
would be really cool. So
still.
Anyway, super excited that he's coming back.
Absolutely.
2 other pieces of news. One, I've been sitting on this for a long while. We're talking 2017. Okay. I've been saying this since 2017. There is a comic creator named Rob Liefeld. A lot of people may probably know who he is. If they don't, well, you do know who he is. You just probably may not realize it. He's the creator of Deadpool, creator of X-Force. He's created a lot of comic characters, drawn a lot of comic characters, especially for Marvel. But he created a lot of his own characters too. And one of them is a character named John Prophet, who was an absolutely awesome character. John Prophet came out during Rob Liefeld's Youngblood comics. And John Prophet was a genetically altered soldier that was cryogenically frozen to go to do a mission in the future. And he wakes up too early and there's no mission. And he's kind of having to find his way. Very much kind of Captain America type character. Just freaking way more boss. Like, he's got his awesome sword and long hair and he's just an absolute beast. But they've been working on doing a movie for quite a while. They finally officially announced this yesterday. Mark Guggenheim, who of course led Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, The Flash. I mean, the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
He's writing the script for the movie now. It's been announced. And then they have got, of course, Rob Liefeld will be producing it. And then I'm trying to Adrian Ascara, Brooklyn Weaver, John Hyde, and Teresa Kelton. A lot of the crew from the comic books is helping with this, which is super, super cool. I'm really excited about it. Studio 8's doing it. I finally, I've gotten his first appearance and a lot of his first books, but I've never read the whole thing. You know what I mean? And so I picked up an actual run of his books the other day, or a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. It's been a little bit. And the storyline is absolutely awesome. I love that they add scripture. There's a lot of scriptural stuff inside the books. But Prophet is just, he's awesome. I mean, he's like, if you wanted that little bit slightly edgier Captain America, who was almost like Captain America, but more anti-hero-esque, he could be.
Captain America and Batman mixed.
Yeah. That would be, that's John Prophet. I mean, he's a freaking beast. So I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to see these other comic book companies finally step out and try to make their own movies.
Right.
You know, Bloodshot, was it an Avengers quality film? No, but it was great. I had a lot of fun. It was super, super fun. I really cannot wait and hope that they do another one. Because I had a blast. You know, I mean, it was really good. I mean, it's better than Ant-Man by a long shot. I thought better than, you know, the first Daredevil film, better than Electro.
That's fair, but let's not put Ant-Man in that category with the first Daredevil film.
We can't. I'm just saying those you know, not the Avengers, Iron Man.
But
you know,
you're
you know, I wouldn't put Ant-Man with Daredevil. Not quite now. It's funnier, you know, I'll give it that much. But I mean, seeing these dudes be able to start making their movies was great. Now, if Todd McFarlane can just get it together and get Spawn out, I would be super happy. So, but I am really stoked the fact that they're finally greenlit and it's been officially announced that the Prophet's coming, because that's a great comic book story. Rob Liefeld's a great creator, so I cannot wait to see what they do with this. Super, super stoked about it. The last thing on the news that we're going to run into, introducing you guys to our new segment where we're starting on the show. There's a new Riddick movie in the works. Vin Diesel has got his script in this week for the 4th film. I cannot wait. Riddick is hands down my favorite Vin Diesel character. Like I love Vin Diesel. I mean, I loved him in Bloodshot. Loved him in the Fast and Furious movies. There's really the only thing I don't like him in is The Pacifier, which I know a lot of people like that movie. But
it's a good movie.
I just don't get into those type of films. I get them. You know, the Kindergarten Cop and The Pacifier. I get
it's good for a laugh.
Yeah, I get the enjoyment that you're supposed to get out of those films. It's just they're not for me.
You're missing one of his big ones.
What am I missing?
Groot.
Well, yeah, he's Groot, but I mean, like, he voices Groot. You know what I mean? But he's the Riddick films. That's where he really started. I mean, Pitch Black really set his career. Playing Riddick. And Chronicles of Riddick was not as good. It was bigger. It was much more bigger world-wise as far as creating the world of Riddick, and much more science fiction, but it wasn't as good as Pitch Black. And then he came back and he wrote the 3rd one and then produced it with David Twohy, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Went back to the bare bones root of what Pitch Black was. Excuse me. And was phenomenal. Like, I love the 3rd Riddick film. So I know when he was talking about doing the 3rd one that he had 2 more. Like, when he went to pitch these to David Twohy, who did the first 2 and did the 3rd one with him as well, he brought 3 movies.
Right.
And they were like leather bound and like this crazy looking like ancient leather bindings, all 3 films individually. Like, he went top notch. I mean, that's what I love about Vin, is Vin goes above and beyond for any role that he does. So I'm super stoked. There's nothing is known yet about this movie, but I'm sure we'll start to find things out soon. Yeah. But I'm just excited. A 4th Riddick film. Like, I could have, it's like Jason Voorhees, you know, like I could have 40 Riddick films and I would totally be okay with it, you know, up until the point to where, I mean, give me, you know, old, bald with a cane, you know, Riddick, and I'm still going to be like, yes, it's Riddick on screen. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I can't wait to see what happens. Just super good, fun movies. Anyway, so that's what we got news-wise for you guys. Definitely keep an eye out on the movie theater situation.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you that this could be a pivotal point
in our culture.
And how we enjoy seeing movies and how we, you know, for the first time. So, and the rise of the drive-in. I just hope it keeps going. So cool. What's going on with that. So, all right. So the next segment that we got for you guys is something new we're going to start doing. And this was Micah's idea. I thought it was awesome. And Micah's named this Cage Match. And I thought it was really cool. Micah's idea was pretty much to get two huge characters from not just like Marvel versus DC and have them battle it out, but from any really
genre of pop culture.
Yeah. I mean, we can go Star Wars, Darth Vader versus Gandalf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So any property that's
it's not even
there.
a fight at all, but
No, I don't know, man. That would be pretty cool. I think that would be interesting. Getting two pivotal characters from a universe and putting them toe to toe. And you picked one, and I do want to say that the one he picked, he was completely unaware that this battle has already been done. To be fair to him,
totally unaware.
But I wanted to continue to do this one because I think everyone has got it wrong.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So the first cage match is going to be none other than
Superman versus Goku.
Huge characters. So for those who don't know Superman, you're born yesterday. Everybody knows who Superman is. Okay, son of Krypton. He's the last remaining survivor of Krypton.
Well,
comes to Earth. Well, I mean, got his cousin and whatnot, but anyways, and he's the Man of Steel. I mean, he's pretty much invulnerable to anything but kryptonite. Okay, he gets his power from the yellow sun, and he it just unlimited strength. I mean, can do anything. Shoots, flies everywhere, bulletproof, tank proof. I mean, we know who Superman is.
Yeah.
And then you got Goku. For those who don't know who Goku is the main character from the longest running manga and anime series in history called Dragon Ball, or also, Dragon Ball Z, and now Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
There was also GT
at
one time. So, I mean, this manga has been around since the 80s and is still going. I mean, the manga, for those who don't know, is a Japanese comic book. And the manga started, I think, in 88, round about then is when it came out. Spawned a huge anime series or manga series called Dragon Ball, and then went from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, which is one of the single longest running anime series out there.
Yeah.
I think there's another series that's longer, but I mean it's in there. But as far as overall Dragon Ball, it's the longest. Then you got GT, and then now Super. And Goku is the strongest character of those. He was sent to Earth to pretty much destroy the planet. He is an alien life form known as a Saiyan who looks just like humans. He has a monkey tail comes out of his back, and because of that monkey tail, when the moon is in full force, he turns into this gigantic Godzilla-sized monkey that just destroys everything. And called an Oraku is what it is. And so the thing about Goku is after every battle, he fights countless enemies over and over again, trying to save his family, friends, and planets, and keeping peace in the universe.
Right.
He continually breaks over every boundary he has and becomes stronger and stronger and stronger throughout the series, up to the point to where he's gone through his normal fighting power. And normal fighting power in this series, of those who don't know, I mean, throwing a car is like throwing a toothpick. For this dude.
Yeah.
And then he became a Super Saiyan. So that quadrupled his strength, and his hair turned yellow. And then they found out, when he broke into the Super Saiyan powers, there's 4 different levels. Well, canon right now in Dragon Ball, there's 3 different levels. Yeah. You've got Super Saiyan level 2, and Super Saiyan level 3. Each one doubles the power and makes him infinitely, significantly stronger. And now in the Super Saga, he has tapped into what they're calling the God forms. So when he turns, his hair turns red at one point, and then blue, and they're called Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue. And these power levels are on the power levels of gods in the Dragon Ball universe. Goku is now also the first person who's ever tapped into what's called Ultra Instinct. Which Ultra Instinct is a power level that is on the same level as gods in the series, if not higher.
Right.
Ultra Instinct's pretty much what it sounds like. His strength, there's no known end or limit to his strength. And his speed is divine speed.
Instant.
He could run 600 circles around Flash before Flash could blink an eye. At this point. So that's a huge. And the reason why we were talking about this earlier, that this has already happened, is you can find on a group of guys called on YouTube called, I think it's Screw Attack.
Yeah, I think so.
Who did a Superman versus Goku video. They actually did a second one too for their 50th episode, like a rematch, because that was their biggest one. Still to the date is the first. I think it's got like 39 million plays. It's crazy. But in their videos, Superman comes out on top, and I totally totally disagree
I knew you would.
with this. But so let's dig into it. I'm like, Micah, why
Yeah.
in these two, Superman versus Goku, who would you pick winning?
Right. It's obviously Superman. Like,
Okay.
no,
Yeah, it's gonna be Superman.
and I'm a fan of Dragon Ball. Like ever since I met you, I started watching, and I've really enjoyed it. But there's one thing that those guys in that video said, and we had no idea these guys existed before I had thought about this or anything. Like I just, hey, like this.
I did.
Cool.
I just
oh, you did?
Yeah, I just wasn't going to say anything because I wanted to talk about it because I'm very pro Goku.
No, I knew you were. But they say in the video that Goku has the power to overcome his limits, but with Superman, he has no limits. Like that's the big thing to me is the only way to harm Superman is taking away the sun or kryptonite,
or magic.
Well, magic, but
Goku doesn't have magic.
But ki
so.
is not magic. Yeah.
So that we're not going to discuss the magic part.
No. And so like even at that, like my big thing is whenever I look at if somebody can beat Superman, I always take it down one level and say, can they beat Doomsday?
Right.
Because Doomsday is pretty much
Superman.
The antithesis of what Superman is. And so, to me, I don't even think Goku could beat Doomsday because Doomsday is invulnerable to anything Goku could produce. Therefore, same thing for Superman at that level.
Right.
So that's my argument to it. I'd like to see where you're coming from here because.
Oh, I'm gonna blow it out the water.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Out the water. So, I mean, there is no argument to Superman's power is limitless,
right?
Because he gets his energy from the sun. But the problem there is he gets his energy from the yellow sun,
right?
So there is a limit to his power. That's the limit of the actual sun.
Right.
As the sun dies, his power dies. So I mean, Goku has the power to destroy a sun.
Oh, absolutely.
Easily. There's no question. Goku would never do that, though.
No.
I mean, because he's about preserving and saving life. He's got two weaknesses: red sun, no sun. Goku can instant transform his instant transportation move.
Right.
For an instant transmission, can take him immediately to a planet with a red sun,
right,
in a split second before Superman.
Absolutely.
Did. So if he take him there somewhere there, his power's gone, and Goku doesn't even have to do anything.
Right.
That's one thing. Two's kryptonite. If Goku has kryptonite, which he could easily get,
right? No, yeah.
He could stop Superman. However, Goku wouldn't do that. He likes a fair fight. He wants his opponent to be at his best constantly. So those two options, red sun, kryptonite's totally off the table because Goku wouldn't even allow it to happen.
Right.
Because he's always wanted to push himself further and further and further and further.
That's the best part about his character too.
Oh yeah. So good. Now, the problem with these guys' video for me is there's a few things.
Right.
Okay. One is that when you look at the power of, like you said, Doomsday.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doomsday ended up being killed, obviously.
Oh yeah.
I think Goku could easily wipe Doomsday off the face of the earth in Super Saiyan 3 form.
3?
Yeah. 2 or 1, I don't think so. Okay. Problem with 3 is it's very short time frame. It's so powerful and drains his energy so much, he cannot utilize it very long.
Yeah.
But if we go with what's canon right now, okay, we got Super Saiyan Red, Super Saiyan Blue, now Ultra Instinct.
Yeah.
Okay. Ultra Instinct puts him on par with the gods that created the universe,
right,
and the God of Destruction.
Right.
When I look at the God of Destruction in Dragon Ball Z, I cannot fathomly put Superman being able to beat him.
Really?
This is the being that controls chaos and destruction.
Right.
He makes life happen because of what he does. So putting Goku beating that type of character means you're putting Superman at beating that type of character means you're putting Superman at beating beings like the new gods and the Celestials in DC.
Mm-hmm.
The beings he can't beat in DC. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's all those celestial creators,
right,
that he just can't not defeat because they are so big. Beerus, the God of Destruction in Dragon Ball, is the equivalent of those characters. Okay, Goku in his blue form can't beat Beerus.
Right.
So all the way up to Super Saiyan Blue, because I got to put Superman and Beerus together.
Right.
Goku can't beat him.
Right.
He can give him a run for his money, but he can't beat him. So I can't see Super Saiyan Blue Goku beat Superman.
No,
I can't do it.
That's
And I mean, even with his fighting technique, because Goku is a far superior fighter. I mean, he would just like when you watch those videos. I think it would just be Superman being a punching bag, honestly, because he couldn't keep up with the fighting skills of Goku. There's just no way.
Right.
But he couldn't really do anything, because he's Superman. But Ultra Instinct puts Goku at the same, if not, because we don't know the limits yet,
right,
higher power of these gods in Dragon Ball. At Ultra Instinct, Superman stands no chance because Goku doesn't even. It's so. Like I said, I mean, it's completely instinctual. Superman against Ultra Instinct, Superman has to think of the reaction of Goku's punch coming. Okay, so his mind has to go, here comes the punch, and the speeds are insane with these dudes anyways.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But he has to register in his mind, the punch is coming, I have to react and do something, okay, no matter how fast it is. Ultra Instinct's form, that whole thought process, no matter how quick, is gone.
Right.
It's absolute instantaneous instinct. So there's nothing Superman can do to top that because he can never hit a punch. He will never be able to hit Goku at all because of the way Ultra Instinct works. There's no speed he can garnish at his power to match that itself. Even if he was able to go strength toe-to-toe, which now you're talking about Goku being at a strength level with Ultra Instinct that is on par or surpasses the gods of both universes,
right.
DC. If Goku and Superman can handle strength to strength, he can't top his speed, which gives Superman an extremely huge disadvantage because Goku's movements and Ultra Instinct is literally instantaneous.
Right.
So because of that, Ultra Instinct form, I think trumps Superman. Anything below it, I do have to, unfortunately, even though I don't want to say it, have to give it to Superman.
Right.
You know what I mean? But Ultra Instinct, at that point, Superman's done.
See, for me, there's one kind of glaring issue, and not even that it's an issue with Goku, but it's the fact that any of his key attacks, like his big Kamehameha for example, it wouldn't be able to affect Superman because he's pure heart. That's I think that's Goku's big thing is he's the ultimate.
We got the two best heroes,
right?
Yeah, I mean, like,
right.
These are the dudes that all. I mean, they're the nicest and best that can be. Yeah, I mean, they are. They're true heart, both of them.
Right, and so I think that's kind of like because I think Superman can absorb any punch from he takes punches from Darkseid and Doomsday, people that are on the level of gods, and even the new gods of well, Darkseid is a new god, but and I think even with the instant, there's gonna be a moment to where Superman has Goku, whether it's because Superman is still extraordinarily fast, but nowhere near the level of Ultra Instinct,
right?
But even at that, I think Superman fights beings that are faster than him, the Flash, for example. And
depends on which race you
exactly.
Exactly. Which race are we going with? 1, 2, or 3 here.
Like that's the big thing here is like there's several different variations of each one of these. You look at New 52 Superman, and then behind that the reboot, like that Superman could sneeze away solar systems.
Right. Yeah.
And so that was the big thing with that Screw Attack. They picked almost like it seemed like they picked the weaker version of Goku and kind of kept it with a semi-strong Superman. Right. I didn't really like that. But even in their video, they didn't even have Ultra Instinct yet because I don't even think it came into.
Not yet, no.
So, I really can't say. But to me, it's Superman just based on durability and the strength that he can output. So
yeah, I can see it. To me, the ultimate win for these two in a cage match is an absolute draw.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the characters
and I think
that they
that's the most likely.
Yeah, the most honest likely thing would be an absolute draw of both of them going, this has been fun. Like
we both learned from this. Yeah,
we need to do this again sometime. You know what I mean? But I mean that's going to be the teetering thing though for me when it comes to Goku winning is the Ultra Instinct,
right? And
that's just because there is, I mean, the movement is just something Superman will not be able to keep up with at that point. Strength, we can go all day with strength and stuff, but if you can't keep up with speed, too many times we've seen, Flash as an example, overcome villains that are far stronger, far more powerful than him because of his speed alone. So, and same with Superman too. So that's why I think, form wise, I think Ultra Instinct would.
Well, there's definitely arguments both ways.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Is
Draw's best way to go
because these are the two most powerful characters in pop culture.
Of anything. That's every pop culture one. These are the two biggest ones. So we started off strong for you guys. So what we're going to start doing is with these, and definitely let us know online who you think would win. Superman or Goku. Multiple versions of each one, of course, but who you think would actually win that match. And we're going to start doing future ones where we'll pull these different characters, and may start polling on the page to see who you would like to see involved in one of these. Yeah. And one of the things we talked about too is we're going to need to start doing a tiebreaker, because what if we
like tonight,
because we could debate, me and Micah definitely back and forth on who would win or who wouldn't win, and so we're going to start calling people, and we'll let you know before the recording who we're calling. And we're going to call one of you listeners, and you guys will be the tiebreaker to let us know who would win these cage matches. So these are going to be pretty cool, a lot of fun. I've already got tons of character ideas of who I'd like to see. And it may not be even huge, powerful characters. Just so you all know, we may say, hey, this is going to be, John McClane versus Martin Riggs from Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. It's just two great pivotal characters in a pop culture universe or movie or game or whatever, and pitting those two together in a cage match. So I'm excited about this one because it's a lot of fun, and we can come up with some really unique ones.
Oh, absolutely!
Like,
see the Ninja Turtles in there somewhere, or just stuff like that.
That'd be awesome. Throw Barney against somebody. I would just love to see that purple dinosaur just ripped to shreds. Barney versus Big Bird cage match fight.
Oh my god!
What I mean? So just off the wall stuff. So if you guys can think of a character, let us know. Who would you like to see in a cage match against who, or just something to be really cool. So these are going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about these. So, all right, well, let's move on to a song break before we get to our last segment. Now, this song is one of my favorite bands, but I think we've had them play on the show before, but it's Wolves at the Gate. They're a Christian hard rock band. Love these dudes. They just came out with a new album here recently, and there's a song on this album called Face to Face that has just absolutely been blowing me away, and I can't stop listening to it. I know you guys are going to love it. If you've never heard them before, prepare to fall in love with a new band, and definitely check them out. But here's Wolves at the Gate, Face to Face.
And what is truly real?
All right, and that was Wolves at the Gate with Face to Face. That whole record is freaking unreal, and you guys definitely need to check that out. So, all right, so next topic, I wanted to dive into something. We were trying to figure out what to do for second topic, and this guy's name has come up a few times here recently on the Monster Movie Stomp Down. This guy really kind of started back in the 50s in the movie industry. His name's Roger Corman, and a lot of people may know the dude's name. He's the king of B, pretty much, when it comes to lower budget films. Roger Corman, he really started his career. He directed a movie called The Day the World Ended back in the 50s. That was a great science fiction movie about the end of the world. But he was really back then most famously known for his Edgar Allan Poe films, Fall of the House of Usher, The Raven. I mean, like those, especially because they all had Vincent Price in it too.
Right.
Phenomenal. Pit and the Pendulum was one of my favorite. Like they're unbelievable movies. Some of the best. I still think those are the best Edgar Allan Poe films.
Right.
That's been made. Is Roger and Vincent's team ups for those movies. But he went through and he's made a ton of movies. We looked it up on IMDb before the show, and he has produced 416 films. I don't know of any person that has got a producing record that long.
That's insane.
That may be the longest.
Yeah.
Directing, he's got 56. Then, of course, he's actually acted in a few films, and a lot of people may not realize, like he was in the Silence of the Lambs. He was actually the FBI director in that. So he's got a few small acting roles. I mean, Roger Corman's, he's the Stan Lee of the movie world. Okay, that's who Roger is. I mean, he's an older dude, and a lot of stuff that we have, and movie wise, we wouldn't have if it wasn't for him. When Dan O'Bannon first came up with Alien and started shopping the screenplay, the script for it around, he went to Roger, and this was before it was called Star Beast at the time. And we talked about this, I think, on a Monster Movie Stomp Down too. And Roger turned and told him no. He said, "This is too good of a movie for me to do." He's like, "You don't need to give up on this. Keep shopping this. You need to change the name and shop this movie around." And because Dan listened to him, Ridley Scott and Fox picked it up, and we got the Alien franchise. You know, I mean, could you imagine if Roger wasn't honest enough to say this is too good?
Right.
And of course, he did say, if no one picks it up, come back, I'll buy the movie and I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he pushed Dan to really not give up on that movie, and it became huge, huge. I mean, Roger, not only did he, of course, produce a massive library of films, he created studios. He created New World Pictures, which was a big movie company in the 80s, and also home distribution. I mean, New Line Cinema did Nightmare on Elm Street, but New World Pictures released it to home video. They did Gods on 85. They've done tons of movies back then. Yeah. And then, of course, New Concord he created, which was kind of his still around, his movie company especially in the 90s. Mm-hmm. The Carnosaur films was a big series on there, and a lot of other lower budget horror films, which he was the king of. Most of what he's done is lower budget horror films or even action movies. Have you heard of the Death Race films?
Mm-mm.
They were remade several years ago. Jason Statham was in the remake. A lot of his movies actually get remade into bigger Hollywood films. And there's a whole new series. I think there's like 4 Death Race films now. Those all came from Roger's original film, Death Race 2000. Roger's, huge. I got a list here of the biggest thing that Roger's known for, not just for just making great fun movies. They're not like Hollywood blockbusters, right? But he can take $100,000 and turn out an amazing movie out of it. And he just pumps movies out left and right constantly. Yeah. Always has. Actually, when the Fox had the Fantastic Four rights and they were about to lose them, they hired Roger to make a Fantastic Four film that they were planning on releasing, and it's a cult classic now. You know what I mean? Because it was never had an official release, but I've got it. It's amazing, and it's really got Roger Corman's flair to it. But Roger kickstarted so many people's career because Roger would give people a chance when no one else would in the industry. That was huge. Here's some film directors that got their career started because of Roger Corman: Francis Ford Coppola, Ron Howard, Martin Scorsese, Jonathan Demme, John Sayles, and James Cameron. Okay. Huge. Francis Ford Coppola, come on. All of them, Martin Scorsese, any of those. Those are huge. Those are the biggest of the big directors. And they wouldn't be where they are today if it wasn't for Roger. Not just that, he launched the careers of so many actors: Peter Fonda, Jack Nicholson, Dennis Hopper, Bruce Dern, Sylvester Stallone, Diane Ladd, William Shatner. Robert Englund, Sid Haig. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on.
416 films.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, Corman. He's from Detroit, Michigan, and he went to Stanford University. He was actually going to be like an engineer of some kind or something like that. But he ended up moving to start in film is what he wanted to do. He worked at Fox, 20th Century Fox, in the mailrooms where he started. And he went from there, provided ideas for a Gregory Peck film, The Gunfighter. Okay. And he didn't receive any credit, but the ideas he gave to that is what kind of got him moved from the mailroom to working a little bit, writing, and moving on to movies. He did Highway Dragnet in 1953 and started producing films. And he would produce a low-budget horror again, mostly. I think the first one he did was called The Monster from the Ocean's Floor, 1954. He did the first original Fast and Furious in 55, produced it. But then he moved on to starting to be able to make his own films. He sold, I think, Fast and Furious or one of them to, can't think of their names. Nicholson and Harkoff. They owned a company. Samuel Harkoff and James Nicholson owned a independent company back then called American Releasing Company. And they helped push his career. So they started having him direct films. And it wasn't long after that he finally got around to doing The Day the World Ended, which was a great end the world movie. Pretty much you've got nuclear war. World War III happens, ultimately. And mankind's wiped out, except for a few survivors. And they can't go outside of this home that's only got enough food to last just this father and daughter. But these other people show up, and there ends up being a mutant that used to be a human outside, ready to attack and kill them. And it's just a super great movie. I still watch that movie today pretty regularly. It's super, super good. But that really pushed his career. Then he started directing and producing other films. Jack Nicholson and him teamed up actually twice, if I'm not mistaken, because he did The Terror with Jack Nicholson. No, he did Little Shop of Horrors, original Jack Nicholson, Little Shop of Horrors. But before that, he found Jack Nicholson and put him in a movie called The Crybaby Killer. And that kickstarted Jack's career. Little Shop of Horrors did, but he technically did Crybaby Killer first. And he started picking up all these other people. And so, when he's doing these early films, he then ends up pushing to do these Edgar Allan Poe films, which he wanted to do. And then that's when he got on with Vincent Price playing in a lot of these. Mostly Vincent would play the bad guy in the stories, which are great. So The Fall of the House of Usher really, really, really did it for Corman. Really made a name for himself. And that's when he started creating his own companies and doing all these films. So, his career dates back to the 50s. The dude started, and he's still going to this day. And he's got a perfect niche. He knows how to take a low-budget movie and make a ton of cash on it. When you look at the Carnosaur films that he did in the 90s, which are some of my absolute favorite. I love the first two Carnosaur films. There's 3 of them. Actually, technically 5. But the 4th and 5th one are called like Raptor Island and something else. And they're just pretty much stock footage of the first 3.
Right.
He had like $12,000 in those films and made tons of money off of it. But so like with, Jurassic Park came out in 94, he did Carnosaur at the exact same time because he knew he was going to ride on the coattails of Jurassic Park. He knew how to do it. He took a very small budget, like $200,000, I think is what it was. No, it was probably a little more than that for Carnosaur, and made a freaking fortune. Like he literally, the tagline for Carnosaur was, "This is no walk in the park." He knew what he was doing, and it was phenomenal for him. He did so good. To me, he knew there would be those fans wanting to go see Jurassic Park. They're like, okay, if there's real dinosaurs, it'd be way bloodier than this. And that's exactly what he did. He just poured on the blood and guts. And it's a great, great movie, and spawned, again, 2 direct sequels. Carnosaur 2, which I think was actually an even better film. And then Carnosaur 3, Primal Species, which was still another very fun film. Not as good as the first 2. And then 2 offshoots. He does that all the time. Death Races, and he's done a lot of like different exploitation type films. He knows where to put the money and how to make a ton of money. But in the process, he also knows how to find talent You know what I
Right,
mean? When and a lot of people, especially like William Shatner, Robert Englund was, you've got Galaxy of Terror and Forgotten Worlds, which are two phenomenal science fiction horror films, very in reminiscence of Alien and those type of movies. Great movies. But he found talent that's trying to find that he knew was good. Robert Englund and Sid Haig. Now, Sid Haig technically started, Pete told me this, in a movie called Spider Baby with Lon Chaney Jr., which was absolutely amazing. That was actually Sid's first film. But then Sid did, I think it was Galaxy of Terror with Robert Englund for Roger Corman. So Roger Corman kickstarted so many people's careers. And I mean, not just actors, movie makers, soundtrack guys, special effects. I mean, James Cameron. I mean, James Cameron's first movie, one of his first movies was Piranha 2, which was a Roger Corman film based off the sequel to the first Piranha movie. And now that's one of James's movie where he's like, doesn't tell anybody probably, you know what I mean? But that's where he started, and so Roger's huge. I mean, you've got a lot of those guys that make lower budget films. None of them do it with the shine, I guess you could say, or the polish that Roger does, and most of the time, if you go to a movie store, you're bound to toss a pebble and hit a Roger Corman film. You really, really are. I mean, not just the low budget horrors, but I mean, the action films. Made tons of action films. I mean, when you look at them on IMDb, I mean, 416 movies that this dude has credit for. And a lot of the greatest classic monster films. I mean, I think of some ones in my collection. I mean, It Conquered the World, Attack of the Giant Leeches, Little Shop of Horrors, The Wasp Woman. Well, Wasp Woman has actually been remade like 2 or 3 times. These are great classic science fiction horror films from the 50s and 60s that he did that really did become classics. So the dude's an absolute genius, and he pushed everybody to do everything. And of course, he's got some crazy movies out there that are just like, what? But they were just cash crops from him. I mean, Creature from the Haunted Sea is one that I can think of. Humanoids from the Deep, which has got one of my absolute favorite scenes of any movie of all time in it. I mean, that's just low budget, just garbage. But it just did great. I mean, he made a ton of money off of it. Yeah. And he would just let people run with it. I mean, when you look at Creatures or Humanoids from the Deep, another example is in the middle of this movie, I mean, you got this ocean town down south and these humanoid sea creatures that are trying to, find girls pretty much. They go and crash this redneck party at the beach, like the docks. And people start freaking out and screaming. And all of a sudden, all these rednecks and flannels are like, what are we running for? And they start like ripping 2x4s off the docks and just start beating these things, like and having a hoedown, like just a heyday with this. And it's just the most ridiculous, hilarious scene that if you would have taken any other movie because most of the movie is serious, but this is such an off the wall scene in there. He's just like, go for it, run with it, So I mean, the dude he just really knows, and he makes movies quick. I mean, most of his films are done like in 15, 30 days.
Wow.
I mean, quick film shoots. He could turn around and do a whole movie. Like I think his shortest shoot schedule was like 12 days. And I think that was for like one of the Usher films. Actually, I think I got it listed right here. I'm sorry, 15 days. And that was the Fall of the House of Usher.
Wow.
Did it extremely, extremely quick, but that is such an amazing movie. Yeah. So he knows, I mean, he's great work ethic and just an awesome director. So, I mean, I know you haven't seen anything.
No, not
I wouldn't recommend a lot of his stuff probably to you, except for the old Edgar Allan Poe stuff in the 50s.
I have seen The Raven.
The Raven, oh man, it's so good with its Bryce.
It's been a while.
Fall of the House of Usher are still probably the best. My personal favorite is the Pendulum. Right. Of course, all those are on on my Plex, but it's just great movies. A great director. For those who haven't seen anything but Roger Corman, there's going to be a movie out there for you that's his. There's probably going to be a lot that aren't that aren't for you. But you're bound, if in his massive library, you're going to have something of his that you're going to absolutely love or have at least seen. Like I said, I mean, we're talking 416 dang movies that he's done. I mean, of course, he's done weird movies, you know what I mean? Like, you've got Attack of the Crab Monsters from 1957. Like, what is that? Who wants to see Attack of the Crab Monsters? No one cares. But like I said, he's produced a ton of movies, especially action films. And there was one, Roger Corman's Frankenstein Unbound, came out in 1990, was another one of his that I thought was actually absolutely amazing. But if you look at him on IMDb.com, I'm looking at the numbers here. Producer 415, director 56, actor 43, writer 10, 13 miscellaneous, and he even did
Right.
stunts for something. Apparently, I mean, he probably has the most intensive acting career, or not acting, but movie career
Right,
of anybody.
right.
I
Yeah.
can't. I mean, can you even think of a director or a
Nowhere
producer?
near.
I can't
near.
either. He's also done, great sci-fi movies, like his newest, or one of the last ones he did, recent ones he did was Sharktopus versus Terracuda.
What?
Like a shark, half octopus versus a half pterodactyl, half barracuda. Dude, he does some cheesy ones.
What?
Some insanely cheesy movies. Piranhaconda was one. He did one that he did. It was really good. It was called Camel Spiders. Came out in 2011. That's a fun, cheesy little movie. But those are the type of movies that he definitely does a lot. Dino Croc versus Super Gator. Dino Shark was one. But again, now the Death Race movie that came out in 2008 with Jason Statham, he was an executive producer on that. He did one, Super Gator. Like, these are just weird movies, that he does. Now he did 2004. There's a movie called Dino Croc that came out. That actually had that. That's actually really, really good. I mean, it's just a long list of just lower budget action or horror type movies. But I mean, he's just everybody in the industry knows who he is.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any of his movies, and I know the name. Like, it's just
another good one of his to watch. Actually, with Mark Hamill, is the fourth Watchers film. It's called Watchers Reborn. He got the rights to the Watchers films, which the first Watchers, it's based off a Dean Koontz book. The first Watchers had actually Corey Haim and Michael Ironside in it. It was a really good movie. Yeah. They did two more. The second one had Mark Singer in it, who was the Beastmaster. I can't remember who else in the third one. The third one was really low budget and not any good. But his company ended up getting the rights to Watchers, and they redid it, and Mark Hamill's in it. And I think came out actually called as Watchers Reborn. That's actually an extremely good movie. It's as good as the first one, in my opinion. But I mean, it's just his career. I mean, I'm going through here looking at the list, and I'm in the 90s, and I don't even know how many I've looked at on here. The dude's just, it's insane the amount of movies that he's done. And big movies that spawn a lot of stuff, like Piranha. I mean, that's been remade, with two newer films.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been remade twice because he remade it himself in the 90s. But when it still wasn't as good as this first one. The original Piranha film actually is an extremely good movie. He even remade The Wasp Woman that he did in the 50s. He remade in the 90s. He did it, and excuse me. So there's tons that he's done. He's done movies for some H.P. Lovecraft books that were really good, like The Unborn. He did. I want to say there's some karate films, like Live by the Fist, Dragon Fire, that he's done. I mean, the dude just does it. I mean, he knows how to make a buck, probably better than anybody else in the industry. But he's got an insanely massive movie library. He actually had another one that I actually have on the Plex and I love, called The Terror Within, which was kind of another one of those post-apocalyptic one where you got a bunch of people surviving together in a government bunker, a la kind of like Day of the Dead, but they got mutants outside trying to get in, and it was actually an extremely good movie. That one was a ton of fun, and oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. He was an executive producer for the original Watchers film. That's why he still had the rights. I forgot about that. So he's done some big ones too. I mean, not just low budget, but he has worked on some bigger films for other ones. One of my favorite movies he did, and then we'll wrap this up, was in 1987 movie called The Munchies, which was like the Gremlins just with attitude. Because the Gremlins, for those who don't know about Gremlins, was that Joe Dante did with Steven Spielberg, was really way more horror than what came out. I mean, they were wanted to be a straight horror film, is what it was going to be, but then it kind of came out as this popcorn horror fun movie. I mean, I think in the original script, like Spike decapitates their dog, and then puts his head in the microwave or something. Like it's really crazy out there. But of course they changed it, and made it more fun and campy. So Roger did a movie called The Munchies. I remember watching as a kid in 1987. That was like Gremlins, but like throw on biker jackets on the Gremlins and let them smoke cigars and like cause more chaos. And then that's The Munchies. Tons of fun. It was kind of like a mix somewhere between like Gremlins and Ghoulies. You find Munchies with a crazy, cheesy rock and roll soundtrack. Super fun movie. That movie just stuck with me as a kid and had a blast. I think it was probably the first time I realized I was watching a Roger Corman film was one because I was like, this is great. Who made this movie? And saw his name on it. Then I started to notice his name on a lot of movies I was watching back then. I was like, oh, wow, this dude does everything. So for those who haven't, I mean, he's got a massive library. There's tons of movies that are a lot of fun, tons of movies that are really bad and cheesy. But you will definitely enjoy at least one thing. Like, you know, at least the, you know, Edgar Allan Poe films. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Learn a little bit about Roger Corman, like huge name in the industry, and we wouldn't have half of what we got. I mean, you think of Francis Ford Coppola or James Cameron, either of those dudes. I mean, if Roger wouldn't have found James, would we have, you know, Aliens? Would we have Terminator? Would we have we wouldn't have Avatar, thank the Lord, you know, or Titanic. So dang you, Roger Corman. Because
Avatar's not that bad.
No. It looks pretty. It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it got going for it. Man. Now I'm all mad at Roger because I'm like, we wouldn't have Titanic if it wasn't for Roger Corman. And
I had a guy at work
Corman.
the other day try to argue with me that Titanic was a good movie.
He's wrong. Absolutely wrong. Even Ruben the other day messaged me. He was like, you need to put Titanic on the Plex. That won't happen. That will never happen. No. So, all right. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. So definitely, you know, hit us up on Facebook. Let us know, you know, about the cage matches, man. Let us know some characters you would like to see because we're going to start doing those more regularly. And of course, you know, listen back to the next Monster Movie Stomp Down. Next week's episode is the Legend of Boggy Creek. Can't wait to hit this awesome 1970s Bigfoot movie with Mark and Ruben. It's going to be an absolute blast. And then when we come back next month for the main episodes, it's going to be the Power Rangers episode. So I'm pretty stoked because we're totally dropping the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme song in it. Not the new crap. I'm talking like, you know, the 90s Power Rangers theme song with the metal guitar. It's going to be super awesome. So I'm super stoked because that one, of course, we got a friend of ours from church, Austin. He's planning on coming in because he's a big Power Rangers fan, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
I'm planning on blowing his mind when he gets here. So because I love the original Power Rangers. I went to the movies and saw the first movie. You know, with Ivan Ooze, even went, unfortunately, to theaters and saw Turbo, the sequel to it. Thankfully, didn't go see the new one in theaters. I waited till it was on digital, which it wasn't that bad.
It was that bad.
it was fun up until the end. Like the big Zord fight. They just, I don't know if you saw this, but they actually, we should ask Austin too, they just released the designs for the Green Ranger they originally had for the film. They showed him online, and he looked sick. Like, he looked freaking awesome. So,
that's just an Elizabeth Banks thing. Ever since Hunger Games, her movies are just going
way downhill. Yeah. So, but they're bringing another Power Rangers film back. Actually, Power Rangers coming back in another film, and they have stated they're not trying to do what they did with new, and they're not trying to make it, you know, cool and hip and Transformers-esque. They know it's nostalgic. They know what makes the show works and know why people loved it originally. And that's what they're going for. So hopefully they get it right this time. Yeah. So pretty excited about that one. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, guys, thank you all so much. This is Sludge.
This is Micah.
Y'all have a good night.